What I pray for is humility, to know that there is something greater than I. Then I have to know that the brute, the bigot, and the batterer are all children of God, whether they know it or not. And I'm supposed to treat them accordingly. I'd like everybody to think of a statement by Terence. The statement is, I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. Nothing human can be alien to me.
So I woke up this morning. It's October 2nd. It's a Monday. And it's already like a gloomy day in New Orleans. It's gray and raining. And, it's Monday. Like, who really wants to get up on a Monday after your weekend of just hanging out and relaxing? My 9-to-5ers. And, it's already gloomy or whatever. So I get to work. I'm a couple minutes late to the morning meeting. And I walk in and they're talking about, I don't know, some law or something. And then the next piece of the conversation goes into data and grades and numbers and things that I just didn't care about at 8 o'clock in the morning. But it's just the nature of the work. So you do the work. Anyway, and so I just was like, okay, I don't know if they've already talked about this, but, by the way, at the time it was 50 people. So I'm like, okay, by the way, 50 people were shot last night in a mass shooting in Las Vegas. Maybe we can talk about that. And what we need to do to get our souls right. And in line with love, because apparently there just ain't enough. Or there's enough, but people just aren't going to the well to drink the water. So of course, at this point, it is about 4:40. No, actually, it's about 6:40. This particular clock is wrong. It's about 6:40, and now they're saying 59 people were killed. That's ridiculous, you guys. And I feel for those families. I feel for those friends and individuals that went out to have a good time and just hang out. And now, trauma work needs to be done because hundreds of people, if not more, if not thousands, I don't know how many people were at this concert, but just a huge number of people injured. It's like over 400 some people, they said, injured. It's horrible. And it just makes me wonder if we're doing anything right now. I look at education and I'm like, are we doing this right? Our kids overall, and this is not to speak negatively about schools that are really trying. And I do believe that where I work, we're really trying. But overall, there's a certain level of respect that certain kids just aren't displaying at school. There's a certain level of understanding of value in terms of life, in terms of other people's space, in terms of property, in terms of, caring for yourself and caring for your body, caring for your mind. There's like a lack of awareness in the kids. And I know as kids get older, they start to really see the world in a different way. And I do think that this generation is so creative and has so much potential to keep things afloat. And I do think as millennials, we have that same potential to keep things afloat. But I wonder right now, are we doing this right? Are we teaching the right skills? And are we doing continuing education of those skills? When you're a professional and you're working in a workplace, especially a professional job that requires a license, there's usually some type of continuing education that you must continue, keyword, to do as you progress in that job or in that field to keep your skills sharp. And I think to those other skills that we totally ignore, like bringing me back to the meeting I was in this morning where we're talking about data and deadlines and numbers, which, we talk about that at 7 o'clock, 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning. But we're not talking about people's, how you feel today? We're not talking about that. We're not talking about your soul. Have you meditated lately? Have you prayed? Have you, reflected on your own journey? Are you happy with where you are, who you are, and where you're going? We don't do continuing soul education. And some of us do, but as a society, we do not. We do not. And I look at people like Oprah who does masterclass. That is a perfect example to me of continuing education for your spirit, continuing education for your mind and your soul. And so, I look at what happened in Las Vegas and I'm like, this gentleman was 64 years old. And not that that's old, because it's not, but 64 years old. And this was what you wanted to do today? Like that's what you wanted to do. And then they found, I believe they reported, the New York Times reported 20 additional firearms in the hotel room that he was in. That's what you plan on doing today, was just killing other people. I can't even kill a lizard. Now I can kill a roach or a fly or an ant. Don't trip. But I'm saying a lizard, it's like a thing. It's like a little personality. It serves a purpose. Put them outside. But I look at people and we look at a human life and we're like, nah, take him out. What? And I could go on and on about that in terms of race relations in America as well. When we look at Black lives, we look at and how we are valuing them in an unequal way. So it bothers my spirit that I walk into a meeting in the morning and the first thing we're talking about aren't the 50 people, or at this point now 59 people that lost their lives. We're talking about, I'm not going to curse. I'm going to commit to not cursing in this episode. But that we're talking about numbers and data. And I realized everything isn't for everybody. That's cool. That's okay. This past week for me, I realized everything is not for me. That certain things, and that's okay, but it's not for me. That my soul needs something else, and that's okay. But in all of that, I think we need to just look at who we are and who we want to be. Same thing with Puerto Rico. Is that who we want to be? Is that who? Now, mind you, there are plenty of Americans out there donating, sending supplies, helping, doing everything they can. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about our leadership or lack of leadership. That's what I'm talking about. So, in essence, who do we want to be? Because who we are going to be will determine who our kids are going to be, and so forth. So we need to figure that out. We need to figure out what is the continuing education that we want to do for ourselves that we can pass down to our kids. And what continuing soul education do we want to make sure they practice and they have? Because I can tell you right now, there are certain individuals who focus on this in education with their kids. But as a whole, as an institution, nah, bruh, that's not the place. They're not providing what our kids need for their souls. They're just not. And you can do as much as you can in a school, because I work in one, so I can tell you that you can do a lot. You can say a lot. But when you go home at the end of the day, and those kids are going home at the end of the day, and they're hearing messages that aren't the same ones you're trying to help them learn, it's difficult. So we all need to be doing continuing education for our souls. Can you imagine commercials that told you to go meditate? I feel like we see those messages, but how often are we seeing those messages in our day-to-day lives? Or hearing those messages, I should say, in our day-to-day lives and passing them on to other people. Social media is a great place to spread the word and the knowledge. Like right now with Puerto Rico, and same thing with Houston, it was all over social media. Can you imagine, however, if there wasn't social media? Where would we get it? Because it surely ain't coming from our president. So I'm on the fence about I don't know how I feel. I don't know. And then I asked myself, am I doing enough for my own spirit and my own soul? And if I'm not, what do I need to be doing? Do I need to be working out, dancing, singing, writing songs? Because those are the things that I love. Do I need to do those things? And my encouragement to you is just find the things that you do, that you love. Find the people that you love and actually love them. Find the places that you love and actually go there. Find the information that you need for your spirit and for your mind to continue to grow. And constantly and consistently seek those things. Don't just sit around on your phone and don't just donate money. But seriously, do some work on your spirit and your soul. And if you have loved ones and friends that are going through things, you need to talk to them. You need to tell them that I see you, I hear you, and I want to help you. What can I do for you? Tell me what you need from me, because I'm going to be there for you. I can't imagine what he was thinking. This Paddock gentleman who decided to kill people yesterday, I don't know. And it's the same thing, with the police officers that have been acquitted of these charges and sent back to work to go kill more people with no consequence. Like, I don't know, you guys. It's frustrating. But it's just sad. But we do have an awesome interview with Morgan Pete. And the interview was recorded prior to the Las Vegas shooting, prior to the flooding in Houston. She was actually one of the first people I interviewed for the podcast. And so, minus my tirade, it's a very great interview with Morgan. So we're really going to go ahead and jump into that, because that's our purpose here. But it would be strange of me to not comment on what happened in Vegas. And what I think we need to just do for ourselves. I can't write policy at the moment. That's not my thing. I'm not trying to run for office. That's not my thing. But whatever it is that you're going through and you need to talk to somebody, please talk to them. Whatever it is that your friends and family going, please talk to them. If they start buying a hella guns all of a sudden, please talk to them. And for these gun stores and individuals that are buying and selling guns, just be smart about it. Because America right now, the laws are on your side, but be smart about it. Come on, be smart about it. Everything can't be about numbers all the time and data and money. Because at this rate, we ain't gonna have nothing left for our kids, dog. We're not gonna have it. We're not gonna have it. But anyway, we're gonna get into this interview with Morgan. Because, again, that's why we're here. Y'all not really here to listen to me vent. But I had to, so thanks. But this is a quote from Morgan. She says, "It doesn't matter how long it takes or how far you have to go. Every minute is worth it. The journey is the best part, and you will never know unless you try. There will be times when you feel like you should quit, and that's when you should work even harder. Always remember that the sky is not the limit." And that's Morgan Pete from Lafayette, Louisiana. You guys check her out at skyisnotthelimit.co, as well as AcadianaFashionWeek.com. And make sure to follow Miss Morgan Pete on social media. So she's going to tell us a lot more about her in our interview. But just to give you a little bit of background, because she has an awesome resume, you guys. Just an amazing, really cool girl. She did graduate from the University of Lafayette in biology. And she is the author of a book that you can order on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or Google it. If you don't buy there, go buy it from somewhere else. It's called Nothing Like a Little Bit of Confidence: Living Past Society's Definition of Beauty, which she wrote as a message to young adults to learn the importance of inner confidence and to help them understand that it doesn't matter how you're portrayed by others, but to love themselves for exactly who they are. And she has also modeled in New York Fashion Week, New Orleans Fashion Week, Miami Swim Week, for Rue 21, and so many more. So many people have called her because of her philanthropic work as well. She does these different seminars with young women. We're going to go into more that she does. Again, she's the, God, I can't even talk right now. She's also the founder of Acadiana Fashion Week. So that is going to be coming up again for the second year in a row. This in summer of 2018. They just had the first one in Lafayette, Louisiana this past summer. She's freaking awesome. And she also ran 3 model camps in Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. So you guys really have to keep up with Morgan because she's got a lot going on. So 1, continue to pray for Vegas, but let's do some work on ourselves. And 2, thank you for listening, and stay tuned because we're going to jump into this awesome interview with Morgan Pete. So first of all, thank you so much for doing this. Number 1, I really appreciate it. This is just like a little idea that I had, a little brainchild. I have all these ideas all the time and things I want to do. And I'm like, it would be really cool if, and then I have all this work that I've created for myself. Well, thank you. Thank you. So from reading your bio, there's a lot to touch on, and we'll get into everything. But let's kind of just start with you. You grew up in Lafayette?
I grew up in Brobridge, not far from Lafayette, maybe, 10 minutes, 15.
Okay, represent.
Yeah, it's not far. But I moved out here in Lafayette when I started school at UL.
Okay. So you started, and you were a biology major. So tell the story of how you went from biology to starting your nonprofit, authoring a book, and traveling the world and modeling. And then we'll get to Acadiana Fashion Week because that's a whole other big thing. But how did you go from biology to fashion?
It was from one of my friends. She's a photographer in Lake Charles, and she just started getting her business off the ground, and she was a model, and so I didn't model before. It was my first photo shoot, and it went really well. So after I did that photo shoot, I started to do fashion shows in Lafayette. The first one I did was the one at the Cajun Dome for the Bridal Expo.
Yeah.
That was my first one, and I also got in a magazine from that show as well. So I kind of killed 2 things at once.
Nice.
And ever since then, it just kind of took off. I did New Orleans Fashion Week right after. I wasn't even sure that I would get a call back, but I did. So I did that. And then what else? I did Miami Fashion Week, and then after that, I went to New York, and people started to see that I was serious about modeling. So I started to get even more emails or DMs from people who wanted to work with me.
Yeah. How is it being a professional model versus just taking pictures? Like, I know that it's work because I've, had my short span of experience with it, but I know that it's work and it's definitely commitment. I mean, from inside to your outside. Can you talk about how much work you have to do and what you have to put in to make it a professional, I'm not going to say a lifestyle, but a professional career?
I kind of I really started from the bottom. So I had to learn that since I'm just starting off, I needed people to take me serious as a model. I knew that I wouldn't get paid at the beginning. I wasn't even worried about the money or anything. I was just worried about building up my image So I would go after people. I would contact them. I would try to get in magazines that were, I guess, known around Lafayette so that the people in my community would know about me. So then after I started to build up my resume, I can go after the bigger magazines like Jet Magazine. I was in that one last year in October, and I had actually talked to the editor-in-chief, and I was so surprised that she DM'd me back and she wanted to work with me. But she was really, really sweet, and I guess she saw that I was serious about it. So,
I think that's the most important piece. Yeah, I think that's like what you said as far as, not just people knowing your name, but the fact that they know your name for something that you're passionate about, but you take seriously. I mean, if you're not actually working at what you're doing, if you're not actually putting yourself out there, and in the mix of whatever industry, whatever it is you want to do, it's not going to happen sitting on the couch. It's not going to happen, when you're just daydreaming about it. You actually have to go out there and do the work. And clearly you've done that, and it's worked for you.
Exactly. I still have a long way to go, but I think I've done pretty well so far.
Right? I mean, you gotta at least pat yourself on the back a little bit, give yourself a little something. So do you have any, do you think you might go back to biology at any point, or do you think that fashion has taken over?
I kind of want to do both. I do plan on going back to school next semester, but I don't want to just stop fashion altogether. I just have to find a way to manage my time more. But yeah, I'm trying to do both.
That's a lot, but you got it.
It is a lot. But I guess if I want it, I have to work for it.
Yeah. And you got it. I mean, you started a nonprofit organization when you were at UL when you started Sky is Not the Limit?
Yes, that was.
So what was the catalyst for that? Was that something that you had always wanted to do, or was there a need that you saw from a certain experience?
It was definitely from experience, dealing with, I guess, the modeling industry, and it's a lot of pressure. People want us to look a certain way, or I would get turned down for certain jobs because of the way I look. Like my skin color was too dark, just things like that. And I didn't want other people to think that just because they look a certain way that the opportunities would stop. So I kind of wanted to build this organization where I can help people, I guess, how can I put it? I guess help them feel comfortable in their skin.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was I did a seminar in Lafayette, and we focused on dealing with peer pressure, self-image, self-esteem. What else? Oh, dealing with, social networks, because a lot of bullying happens on the internet now.
Right.
So I tried to touch base on all of those subjects just to help people out, especially the younger girls in the community.
Do you go into the schools and talk to the kids? Is that part of it?
Yeah, I recently, maybe trying to think, 2017, maybe in 2015, I decided to start going through the schools. I had to get approved from the school parish board. Yeah. I had to go through them. They approved me. They approved me for last year and this year. So that's awesome. I started going through schools.
That's good. I mean, because there aren't a lot of programs. I know I live, work, and play right now in New Orleans, and there really aren't that many programs that are available for the amount of need there is. There are programs, but there are also so many kids that really need to hear these type of messages. So it's hard to, the more people that are out there trying to spread something positive, the better. Because the kids don't really have as much Black media as when I was when we were in school. there were so many black shows on TV, and not to say that there was a billion of them, and not to say that there's, you know, zero at this, like now, but we had so many shows, you know, like Moesha and Fresh Prince, and like at least you saw different images of what Black beauty was, and like young people though, you know, like even Disney shows, there were black Disney shows, and so I think of My Cousin Skeeter, and like just all kinds of images that really, I don't know who's making the decisions right now, but I mean some of the shows kids are watching, I'm like, what is that? There's no substance in that at all. Not that every show, you know, has to be serious, but I'm just saying there's like no cultural substance in that at all.
Right, I agree.
You know,
so I'm hoping my organization kind of like more hands-on, where they can actually have a place or have someone to talk to about anything that they're dealing with.
Yeah,
because the internet is really out of control.
For like, right. To put it lightly, it's out of control.
Right. It really is.
So tell me about the Miss Louisiana thing. I didn't know this until I read your bio. Congratulations, and what do you have to do for that?
Well, I was just a contestant. It was my first time competing last year. I went at this Bro Bridge. But it was definitely an experience to say. It was my first time, so I was really, really nervous. And I had braces, so I didn't want to smile much. It was crazy, but I did learn a lot. I met some interesting girls there as well.
Yeah.
I guess not really, only because
she's like, nah, I ain't need them.
It's a different type of experience from Fashion Week and doing pageants. It's like during Fashion Week, it's kind of more, I don't know, it's like the girls are more, let me say, friendlier during pageants. They're like really, you know, uppity and happy, and for Fashion Week it's kind of like more serious, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's really different from my experience.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about Acadiana Fashion Week. Do you say, because you are the official you know, final word on this, do you say Fashion Week Acadiana or Acadiana Fashion Week?
Acadiana Fashion Week.
Okay, and for Acadiana Fashion Week, how in the world did you get that many people to organize some? I mean, honest to God, now you know, because you've been on UL's campus, you know how it goes. People putting together their shows. I mean, sometimes it's like a hot mess, and that's just 6 people. That's 6 girls on stage who just literally have to walk and walk back. Now, that's a lot of work, because we've seen that. How did you get an entire city to support what you're doing? And it was done very well. I mean, how did that work out? How did this even start?
So I was actually talking to one of my friends, and I was just throwing the idea out there. And I was just saying, you know, it's time for Acadiana to have a fashion week, for something close for everyone to attend out here. So maybe about a few months later, I decided that I wanted to go for it. So I kind of put the idea in other people's heads. And they were all on board with it. They were excited. So I can tell you the people that helped me out. Mike B. Photography.
Yes, Mike. Yes.
Angel Glaude. She's one of the models that I've been working with since I started Sky's Not the Limit, along with Janetta George. And then we added on Ashley Bro. She was just on your last. And also Sky Glaude. She's Angel's sister. So she was over the hair team, and Ashley was over the makeup team. So we just kind of started from there. I started to reach out to a few designers from Louisiana, New Orleans, I think one from Mississippi, and a few local ones, Baton Rouge. And they were all excited to do it. And they felt the exact same way that I did, that it was time for something around the Lafayette area.
Yeah.
So we started from there. We had a few meetings. We found a venue, and then we started to we did a casting call, and I was surprised at the amount of girls who showed up too at the casting call.
That's so
and
good.
We also did online submissions as well for the people who couldn't make it and for the people who was out of town.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, the response was really, really great. I wasn't expecting that. I knew people, knew of me because I've done modeling and because of my book, but I just wasn't expecting that much support. But it was successful.
Yay, congrats. So are you already planning year 2?
Yes, I am. I already have the date in mind, July 25th through the 29th for next year.
Okay, summertime.
Right. I'm just working on a bigger venue for next year. But I do want to kind of talk about the models and the reason why things went so smooth.
Yeah.
They were really, really great. I didn't have anyone who complained. If a model didn't show up, the other girls were ready to walk. I didn't have anyone who said, no, I'm too nervous. They were just ready. Yeah. And I wasn't expecting that, it's a lot of females, a lot of different emotions, but they were all on the same page, and they helped out as well.
Is there like an age limit to the models that you had, or was it mostly just based on who submitted? Like, were there mostly young girls who submitted?
There were mostly young girls. I didn't put an age limit on there only because I wanted. Sometimes people want certain models, so I just kind of let the designers choose the type of model that they wanted. But I didn't put an age limit on the casting.
Okay, I gotcha.
So let's talk about your book. So the book that you wrote, hold on, I want to get back. It's called Nothing Like a Little Bit of Confidence. And it says that let me read the whole thing. Nothing like a little bit of confidence, living past society's definition of beauty. Was this written before you did Sky Is Not the Limit? Was it after? Did they kind of go hand in hand? What inspired you to write a book?
It was after I did Sky's Not the Limit, and it does kind of go hand in hand. I took a lot of my experience from being in the modeling industry and put it in the book. I also put a lot of my experience from being in school when I was younger, getting teased because of I was really skinny, and then I was dark skinned, and a lot of people think that's all a burden. So I kind of wanted to write a book just to show people, just to help them love themselves for exactly who they are.
Right.
So like I said, it kind of goes with the organization in my book, kind of hand in hand.
I love that, and it's kind of a good how do I say? When people have all these negative things to say about you, especially when you're younger, it's nothing like your success in the future, especially when you seal it with a book. Like you didn't just be, you weren't just successful in doing the things that you love to do, but you wrote a book on it. So it's kind of like, tell me something now. Go ahead. What you want to say? Go ahead and write my second book. How about you do that? Do you ever run into people that used to put you down? Do you ever run into them and ever feel like, yeah, I know you know me?
I mean, I see people around, and I'm just at a different level. My mindset is at a different level, so it doesn't really, I don't know, I really don't have a reaction to give them. Only because I just don't let people move me that easily anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I've changed a lot.
What's behind that? Like, where did the confidence end up coming from?
Modeling. That helped a lot.
Yeah.
Modeling just gave me that extra boost of confidence that I needed. Being on the runway, not being afraid to walk in heels in front of a lot of people. A lot of people don't have the confidence to do that. So that just, whenever I would be on the runway, it just helped me even more. So
that's good. Do you have any more model camps coming up? Like, is that something that you want to continue doing?
I am working on one. It's going to be all under Fashion Week.
Okay.
We're thinking of doing a weekend workshop.
Uh-huh.
But, I'm still working on the details, but we should be getting it together soon.
Nice.
Yeah, who are the fashion labels you love, whether locally, like within the state, or just internationally? Like, who are your favorite brands?
One of my favorites out here in Louisiana is Paige Alexander. She was in Fashion Week in July.
Uh-huh.
Her designs are it's different. It's not the same thing that I've been seeing. She's a great designer. Not only does she have good work, but working with her as well, it's amazing.
That's good. And
what would be some of your personal advice, like for people who either want to get into modeling or want to get into fashion? Where's the best place you think they should start, or at least, like, what is your tidbit of advice for them?
So whenever people ask me about modeling, I usually tell them that they need to set up a photo shoot, get some headshots and body shots done, even just a white shirt and blue jeans, just so that they can have that to send off to different designers or different casting calls. And to also find out the type of modeling that they're interested in, because everyone isn't interested in the same thing. So
the different types of modeling?
There's runway, print, commercial. A lot of the shorter girls do print. So that's like magazines, things that are editorial. Have commercial modeling, catalog. My favorite is runway and editorial, but there's a full list of different types of modeling that people can do, and it's also in my book if anyone wants to know.
Yes, y'all heard that, so go get the book. Go educate yourself. And I think it's good to be prepared. I think it's good to be prepared and to know where your strengths are. I mean, not to say that everybody can't do everything, but sometimes everybody shouldn't do everything.
That is true.
A lot of girls get disappointed because most agencies in New York or LA, they want girls who's 5'9" and up, and 5'9" is still considered pretty short.
That's short.
Right, well, it is short for
shortest, but yeah.
So a lot of them get disappointed. So I just try to tell them to do something that's right for them. If you're too short, do print modeling or do things in Louisiana or Atlanta, maybe Texas, because sometimes they don't mind taking the shorter girls if they have a good walk. But I never tell them not to go after it. It's just some people want certain things.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about that.
Have you had any designers just be completely rude to you?
No, I haven't had any bad experiences.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't been. No one was ever rude.
Yeah. So tell me this, do you represent yourself? Are you part of an agency or like a management company that you work with?
I represent myself right now. I'm trying to get to Los Angeles to sign with an agency, but it's just kind of hard being in Louisiana and trying to go back and forth.
Yeah.
So still working on that.
Yeah.
But for now, I get things on my own.
Yeah. That's that hustling spirit right there. It's like, I'm not sure where the opportunity is going to be where I am, so I'm just going to make the opportunity be where I am. Right. I was reading, I was very curious because I wanted to kind of get an idea for the listeners as well as just for like my personal knowledge of Black women in history who have designed, and I thought it was really interesting, like the number of Black women who were fashion designers for, elite celebrity, presidents' wives, and you never really knew their name, And I wonder, are there any certain, I found some on the list that I'll probably talk about in the podcast later, that I just found really interesting. Like one of them bought herself out of slavery as a seamstress, which was like, wait, what? She was born in 1818. Yeah, like homegirl was born before 1900s and bought herself out of slavery with fashion, like that long ago. So well, I'll ask you two questions from that, but one, do you have any, role models that you model your career after or your, your passions after?
Honestly, it's not the person who I find is my role model doesn't even involve fashion. It's just the way he, I guess, hustles is just.
Yeah. What are you about to say?
And it's Kevin Hart.
I was like,
I just love him. I love the way he works. It's like he's just always working, always doing something, and I don't know. I love it. Him and Zendaya as well. She also has some lines, but.
And then my other question from that, just from reading about these amazing women, honestly, like one of them was the designer of the original Playboy bunny costume. Like a Black woman, you probably wouldn't have known, back then, but like Ella Fitzgerald and Dorothy Dandridge, Mae West, all women who wore this original pinup outfit designed by a Black woman. I thought that was interesting. Or the lady who designed, let me see, what was her name? Oh wait, I skipped her. Zella Valdez, I believe. But she designed the Playboy bunny costume. And Miss Anne Lowe, who was born in 1898. Sorry for the history lesson. I'm a nerd, by the way.
Oh, no, it's okay.
But she designed Jacqueline Kennedy's wedding dress. And she was a designer for all these extremely rich people. So my question from that is, what do you think is the power of fashion that's able to break down some of the cultural walls that exist? And we're in South Louisiana, so there's another layer to the complexities of, just race and gender and age. What do you think is the power of fashion to help break through those barriers? Kind of deep question, but
I guess it would be because it's just a different way to express ourselves.
Yeah.
So they had this one show in New York Fashion Week in February, and on the shirts it was all about feminism. There were different models walking in a line, and each shirt said something about being a strong woman. And I think that's why. Can I answer your question? I think that's what breaks down those barriers. We have a different way to express ourselves instead of using, verbal words. We can express it through what we're wearing.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's a lot of artists that find their voice, I find, through fashion. Just like you're explaining with the fashion show and the different shirts. It's like you can't always say exactly what you want to say sometimes, depending on your status, and what you have to lose, because there are people out there who don't want you to say what you really want to say, But I think because, and it's not just Black people, but I think creative people and people who have been oppressed, or people who have had to go through something, whether it's because of your gender, your color, your age, your sexual orientation, whatever, I think you have a more complex story. You just have more to say. Right. So at some point in your life, you want to say something, and you find ways to do it, whether it's music, and we have some awesome music down here in the South, whether it's through dance, and then whether it's through fashion. Do you think you'll ever get into fashion design yourself? Like, is that something that you've ever wanted to do?
I've been interested in it. Will I do it? I doubt it. But I have thought about it. I don't think I will, personally.
Not for you. Is it just like too much stress? Too much to do?
I don't know. Probably extra.
Yeah.
Stress. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it to the designers.
Yes.
That's gonna be their time.
So I have a fill in the blank question for you.
Okay.
All right, and it is, I wish I knew blank when I was blank. But it could be anything you want to say.
Okay, let me think. I wish I knew. Okay, I'll say I wish I knew. I'm going to just keep it simple. I wish I knew how beautiful I was when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
I'll say that. And I say that only because I think that beauty is more than just skin deep.
Uh-huh.
I was worried about how other people would see me, that I lost sight of myself.
Yeah. That's a good one. I have another one for you, but it's not fill in the blank. It's not that hard.
Okay.
What is the fashion faux pas right now that people need to stop doing or stop wearing? Like, what do people need to stop wearing right now? Like, do people just come up to you and ask you for fashion advice?
Some people do, and I keep thinking, what would this designer say or this stylist say? Because
like, why are you asking me about your clothes?
Okay, so what do I think people need to stop wearing?
It's dead.
I don't like jersey dresses.
Do people still wear those?
Some people do. I never did like them. I don't like jersey dresses, the shoe heels, the shoes that have heels. I don't like those either. Like the tennis shoes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what those are called.
I don't know. But I hate those.
Those are on the do not do that.
Right.
But no, I really didn't know about the jersey dress. Now, I think the jersey dress is okay if you're going to a game.
Right.
And that's like the only time it's really necessary, honestly. Other than that, or maybe going to sleep in it because you're just a diehard fan or something weird. I'm with you on that one. I think they can be retired and put away in a closet in a dark place. A dark place somewhere.
Right.
Do you find that the guys are as interested in the fashion and in Fashion Week as I know women are like obsessed with fashion. That's a given. We love looking good. But have men responded to any of this at all? Like, other than Mike, who's the photographer and your business partner?
Yes. There's a lot of males who's interested in modeling now. Yeah, I had a good amount of males who responded, not as much as women, but I still had a good amount. I definitely think that they're growing in the modeling industry more. We need more, but they're starting to come out.
Yeah. Do they need the same amount of coaching, or do they ever need like way more coaching than the girls?
Oh no, the girls need more. The males are really, really simple. If they walk with confidence and real masculine, they got it.
All right, fellas. So you heard that. If you're listening, your job isn't that hard.
It is not. All you have to do is walk.
Right.
With the girls, it's a little more technique. But
yeah, walk with a girl that's gonna help you look good, and you'll be a great accessory. Be a great accessory. So what is next for you?
Next, I'm doing LA Fashion Week in March, and then for New York Fashion Week, I'm going just to go out there, but I'm in LA Fashion Week, and then after that, it's going to be Acadiana Fashion Week. So,
I do have one more question for you. Have you thought about creating your own company yourself, like where you're booking the models? I don't know what you call that. I guess an agency. Have you ever thought about opening your own agency?
A lot of people ask me that, and I've thought about it, but I don't want that type of responsibility.
I mean, yeah.
Because it's kind of hard to make certain models understand that everyone's not going to want to book them. Yeah. Especially out here, it's a little more difficult. But and trying to get them to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. But no, I'm going to stay away from that.
Right. That was a no. That was a hell no.
Right.
Do you think that next year's is going to be, I know you're adding certain things. Is it going to be completely just like renovated, just completely new, redesigned thing? Or are you pretty happy with how things turned out this year? You just kind of want to improve from there?
Yeah, I am happy how things turned out this year. It was kind of better than what I expected. So, yeah, I'm just going to work on improving certain things, making it bigger, and just learn more about the business, more on the business side of a fashion week.
Yeah, nice. And my last question for you, what is your mantra? Do you have a mantra? Is there a certain thing that keeps you going? Or like a certain practice that you have that you use to kind of motivate yourself? Or do you read your book?
That would be helpful. But I just kind of, what motivates me? To be honest, it's the people around that motivates me to keep going. I don't know. My family, friends.
You got to keep good people around you and not toxic people around you, because they can go sit on a shelf in a dark room too. No one needs that. No one needs that.
Right. Just positive energy.
So how can people contact you, Miss Morgan?
You can contact me through email, morggpete@gmail.com, or the Acadiana Fashion Week one, acadianafashionweek@gmail.com. Also, my Instagram, morganpete_, and the Acadiana Fashion Week one is just at Acadiana Fashion Week.
Hey everyone, so thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you again to Morgan Pete for taking the time to be on the podcast. And you guys make sure to follow us at Say It With Your Breast with an S on Instagram, or SIWYB podcast on Twitter. And check out the website www.sayitwithyourbreast.com. Thanks, you guys, and feel free to contact me and email me. I really hope to hear from you.